got the, here we go. Welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev. Hello, hello.
Good morning. How's it
Up?
going?
Oh, this is regular old stuff. Not really. Learning, I got a cough drop in my mouth so I don't cough. So learning a lot over these past couple weeks. My husband's been in the hospital, and one thing I acknowledged, I texted a friend yesterday to let her know that he was home. And when this all started, when he went into the hospital, when we went into the emergency room, actually, we were in there for 12 hours. And when I got home, I think it was when I got home, it's a blur now. I sent Facebook, I posted on Facebook asking for prayer warriors. And I did it in 3 groups that I'm a part of. I didn't put it on my personal page, but I put it in 3 groups. And in all those groups, there's over 200 people in each one. And I take that back. There's over 200 in 2 of them and like 80 in one, because one is a mastermind group. So I waited a few days, and then I got to thinking about it, and we've been talking about asking. And so one of the things about being independent, relying on yourself, not feeling worthy of help, I was like, you know what? I have over 500, and I don't know the exact number. I have over 500 people on my friends list on my personal page. And there's more power in prayer, the more that are focused on it. And that's including any manifestation too. Like if you yourself have something that you want to manifest, if you have you can get clear on the details of what that looks like for you in your imagination and share that with others. And they collectively are there to support you and hold that vision with you, then pretty good chance that things are going to work out. So I was like, you know what? We've been talking about asking on our tea time. I got to get out of my box, even though, these people are, I'm friends on Facebook. I know a lot of them. I really personally, I know a lot of them. And I was like, it's time. It's ask everyone you come in contact, ask anyone who texts you, ask everyone. And so that's what I did. And I'd said, hold the vision. Because when he went into the hospital, they immediately put him on like 20 liters of oxygen. That's a shit ton of oxygen that he needed to be able to breathe properly. He was just on, like the one that goes in the nose, but then they did have to put a mask one on him as well, because the one you put in your nose only went up to like 10 or 15. And so then the other mask they just put right over the mouth, compensated the rest of the oxygen needed, but also they added some moisture because that's a lot of oxygen to be throwing it, into your throat and stuff. And it was drying out his throat. So he needed some moisture. So anyway, 20 liters of oxygen he needed to be down to at least 3 in order to get out of the hospital. So this is what I asked. Every time I posted, I would give them an update. This is where he's at with his oxygen level. Please hold the vision. Please hold the vision that he is at least 3 liters or better, or less, 3 liters or less. And so for the first week, that's what I asked. That's all I asked was, you know what? It wasn't, I say, thank you for your prayers and your love and your support. Please hold the vision that he is at 3 liters or less for oxygen, because that's where we needed to be for him to come home. He got down to, when they put him at 4 liters of oxygen last week, towards the end of last week, I then asked, please hold the vision. Like, I was given updates every day on how he was doing, and in all the groups, all the pages. And I said, please hold the vision. Continue to hold the vision. He's at 3 liters or less of oxygen, and he's home by Monday. Some people, this was interesting because some people interpreted that, oh, he's coming home Monday. In the vision, yeah, he is. So please hold that vision. Like, I had to be very clear. He's still in the hospital. We need to hold the vision that he is home on Monday. When I, every on Sunday evening, I sit down and I write out my daily, for the week, what I have to do every day, especially scheduled things. Even though it's in my phone and my calendar, I actually have a notebook, and every day is a page for each day of the week, of what I got going on and what I want to accomplish. And so when I sat down Sunday night on, because every day I've been putting a notation that Aaron's in the hospital, and just so I have it documented if I need to look back on dates, I put, for Monday, Aaron's home. Just holding that vision, staying focused, knowing and trusting in the universe, knowing that the prayers, the collective amount of prayers were powerful, and just having the faith. And so when I getting back to my friend that I was texting yesterday, I told her, I said, 20 years ago, I wouldn't have asked anybody, because I didn't want to bother anybody. I didn't want to put them out on their time. I didn't think I wouldn't have thought like we're that important. All these things that came up for me that says, I wouldn't have done that 20 years ago. And because of the independence, because what, it's our problem. We'll figure it out. It's our deal. It's nobody else's. Nobody wants to hear my issues, right? And just it really, here's where it got me. And when I posted in the groups, I was good. I was like, oh yeah, this really feels good. As soon as I posted it on my personal page, immediately, like within minutes, I had like 60 comments, like that fast. And the overwhelming love I had, I was just like, oh, that's when I cried. That's the only time I cried, was when getting the responses on my personal page. It was so amazing. But I wanted to point out that, because we've been talking about asking for a while on our tea time, that I wanted to share that and know, what, just because we're spirit and body, we're worthy of all good things. And I've made that my practice, that every morning, I think I might have shared this, I open up my arms and I say, I am worthy and deserving of good things. Goodness is the natural state of my vibrational flow. Thank you for all the goodness I've received, all the goodness I'm receiving, and all the goodness that's on its way. That has been part of my practice every day for several months now. And everybody is worthy of it. Everybody. I don't care if you're living in the gutter. You're worthy of good stuff. You're worthy of good things, and asking. And I reached out not only was I saying my own prayers, asking the universe for guidance through this process with him being in the hospital, but worthy of collective support. in the physical and reaching out and asking for support in the physical. And you know what? People want to help. People always, like last night, I have a ton of food in my house. It's like, I don't even know why I went to the grocery store while he was gone because I had so much food already. And I had somebody text me and say, well, can we bring you a meal? And, I was just, the idea that they would want to do that was so loving. But I did reject it. I said, thank you so much, but I have so much food in my house right now. I got to eat, but just people want to help. And we feel like we're not deserving of it, because it's my problem. Like I said, it's nobody else's problem. Nobody wants to deal with my shit. And if I can't figure this out, then again, it's going to prove I'm not good enough. If I have to ask for help, it's going to prove I'm not good enough. I can't handle my own life. So you know what? None of us can handle life on our own. We need help. We need to ask for help. And so I would say that that's one of the biggest things that was a great experience through this process. The whole time I just knew he would be coming home. I knew it. And it was that, like we talk about, our intuition. My intuition told me, even when he went into the emergency room and then they admitted him, I couldn't go with him, couldn't have visitors, couldn't talk to him because he had such a horrible cough. He couldn't catch his breath. So if he tried to talk, he would cough. So I couldn't talk to him, but we could text. So, it's just, I knew intuitively he would be back home. Even with that intuition, I knew it would be better to ask multiple people to pray, to hold that vision. And that was my intuitive guidance as well. Like I would sit and would say, okay, even when we were sitting in the ER, it was like, post on Facebook. Okay. But I was just in my groups, in the groups that okay, well then a few days later, it's time to put it on your personal page. Okay. It wasn't my humanness saying, oh my God, I need to ask more people. It wasn't like that. It was like, okay, it's time to put it on your personal page. It was very, like we talk about, it was a subtle message. It was very loving and kind, but it was just like that little push. Okay, come on. We need to ask more people, because we keep talking about asking, right? We need to ask. You need to ask more people. Okay, I will. And then that wonderful, just that sensation of so much love being given by others. People want to help. Let me tell you, it's so true. People want to help.
Helps get them into their alignment. And the guidance that I get, why you would even not need to, but the guidance that you're receiving to share that information is because it's a teaching moment. Because most people they get caught in that worry phase and they're like, oh my God, well, I know this happened to my family member. Oh God, all these worries and stuff like that. And that doesn't help. When you're in a worry phase, it doesn't help. When you're in that space and that it's just a teaching moment, it gives people an opportunity, because when they get into that place of wanting to help, you actually get into an alignment with your higher self and the creator of all that is. So you put yourself into this higher space, you automatically are elevating your energy because you're getting into a space of love. When you received all that love, that's when we ask for unconditional love, that's unconditional love. That's how it feels. And in our humanness, when we feel that, it is the overwhelming feeling of so much love. It does make you want to cry. It doesn't, and it's not a bad thing. It's just such an appreciation, such a love for all this love that's coming for you, because it's at the same time, without them even realizing it, by saying all these things and lifting you up so high, you're raising yourself up high, you're being raised up higher, and then it's raising them up higher too. And that's what I'm noticing, that a lot of the frequencies these days I'm listening to a video this morning and it's talking about healing because I've been listening to a lot of near-death experiences. I love to have people's perspectives on things, and it's just an awesome place. But I'm listening to all this stuff, but it led this one person I'm following is it leads into this healing, and they're talking about healing and the way that we heal. It's like we all do it. They said even like when a kid falls and skins his knee, they automatically put their hands on their knee, not even recognizing that they can heal themselves. We have been guided away from healing ourselves, and it's so possible. But when they talked about clocks and or a pendulum or those ones that keep track of time, they'll just tick, 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 tick. And if you set them slightly off, you could have like 10 of them in the same room and have them all slightly off. Within a matter of a very short amount of time, everything starts moving together, it starts flowing together. So if you think about that as far as energy goes, if I'm in a high vibration, if I stay in a, and when I say high vibration, it's a loving vibration. When I'm in that space of being in my higher heart and breathing through it and recognizing all the beauty around me, not looking at people for their flaws, not because they don't have any flaws, not judging someone because they're not doing what I think they should be doing or the way I've done things, because we're all on our own journey. But it's being in that space and being in that high space. So when they come to see us for Reiki or healing energy or to communicate, everyone leaves me, and it's not, and I don't mean it from an ego place, but they leave me feeling better
Mhm.
because mostly, not always, I'm a human too. I've fallen into a couple of places, and maybe that should have been a day of canceling appointments. But maybe I was in a more of a vibrational frequency with the person to help them get a little bit higher, and maybe they help me get a little bit higher. But mostly, when you come in, if you meet up with someone that's in a higher vibration in a space of love, and in such a connection, regardless of where your energy is at, it will be such a grace and ease of raising that vibration. And it's not anything that's harsh. It's just being in that space of love. And then you leave. I'm sure there's been places that people have gone to that's like, go to a person's house, they've invited you over, and it's like, oh my God, it just feels so amazing here. You don't want to leave because it feels so welcoming and so much love. It's just recognizing that you're just in that space of love. You're just in that, and it's such a comfort. It's nurturing. It embraces you without ever putting hands on you. So much important things are happening right now, these experiences, because other people have gone through this experience that you've gone through and have dealt with it a little bit differently. And it's such a, we've talked about before, when we see somebody else that's strong and they start asking for help. One of my daughters had asked me for something just recently, and it's like, you have grown. She's like, I'm learning how to not be independent and ask for help. And I said, because you're growing so much stronger. We don't realize that. We think that we're so separate because we're in these separate physical bodies, but we are all so connected. And it's like one other part, it's like, it'd be like trying to cut off your own hand and not allow it to help you by being independent, by thinking that you've got control over everything. It's like, allow it to happen, but allow it even to happen through the people that it comes to you. Because sometimes we automatically want to be like, oh, no, I know you don't have anything to give. Why are you giving to me right now? And then you start feeling bad. Well, that's judgment, but it's just not even being in that space. It's to step back and be just thank you. Because at some point, it doesn't matter if it comes from you, that person's going to get so much blessings are going to come to that person because they weren't giving from an empty cup. They were giving what they had out of love, period. So it's always going to come back. Always. We're always taken care of. We're always provided for. It's an awesome place to be. And thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, you're welcome. When you said it was a teaching moment, that was something else that on some people that would be in that worry state, I could feel it in their words when they responded to the updates.
Mhm.
And so two things on that. When it came to the comments, I read all the comments. I didn't respond to any of the comments, but I read all the comments. And so in the update, I would tell them, I've read all your comments. Thank you so much, and I would acknowledge them. The teaching was, I did respond to people who were in the worry state. oh my God, I hope I hope he's, it was the, oh my God comments. And I would respond to them and tell them, please hold the vision. I would just repeat what I had already posted. Please hold the vision that he is at 3 liters or less of oxygen, right? I had somebody texting me, on a one-on-one, and same thing, like massive worry. I was like, please hold the vision. I would just keep saying it over and over and over. And I told this particular person, I said, worry's not going to help. It's not. Please hold the vision that he's well, that he's at 3 liters or less, that he's coming home, at whatever stage we were at. And that's just what I kept repeating to everybody. Please hold the vision. And then I was going to say something else. Anyway, so yeah, there was teaching in it, and I knew it. And I'm feel like that's why I was guided to include so many people with this process, because in one post, I was stating specifically what I wanted them to focus on. So, and then, guiding those, there was just a few. There was not like a lot of people saying, those, oh my gosh, in that worry state. There was just a select few. And I, because I know these people, I know how they operate. So it was just keep repeating what I had already said. And so, yeah, I feel like it was a great teaching moment for a lot of people. And when he came home yesterday, he did come home yesterday evening. And when we got home, I put out a post update. He's home, right? Celebration, like it was a big word, celebrate. We did it. Wasn't me, it wasn't I, it was we. We did it. Thank you. Expressing gratitude. Please hold the vision that he has a healthy recovery. Right? I'm still saying those same words. Please hold the vision. And so I know for sure, without a doubt, and I had known this when I posted it on my personal pages, where it became very evident, this is a teaching moment for many. And
so many aspects, really.
Yeah.
Because it's teaching how to ask for help. Oh, sorry, I cut a little bit. Glad you stopped.
I could still hear you.
Oh, okay. But it was a great teaching moment. It really was, because you're teaching how to ask for help, There's nothing wrong with it. For me, in the past, asking for help would be that's a rough thing. That would have been very rough. Now I'm in a different place, and maybe I don't always reach out to people, but I do reach out to my universal team a lot. I really do. And people are brought to me, and I accept them, with open arms. It's a wonderful thing. And a lot of times I wouldn't post things because sometimes I would feel like it was attention seeking, and I didn't want to be perceived that way.
Yeah.
But it's not up to me how people perceive us. It's not up to it. It's not. And that's their journey. So it's being okay with them being in that space. But that was a big one for me. A lot of times I don't post stuff. I mean, my mom just had her birthday on October 10th. And of course, that was her birthday onto earth. That was not her birthday back in the spirit.
Immersion.
Exactly. But it was like, it was just a good day. And for me, I feel like everything's a teaching moment. It's just how we want to look at things. And I want to look at things as, when someone leaves the physical, it's a blessing. They were born here. Thank God she was born, or I wouldn't be sitting here. I mean, I might be from somewhere else, from another mother, but I chose my mom, and she was a wonderful mom. But I don't post a lot of stuff when they have their stuff, and when I do now, it's not coming from a space of like I missed her, because she's right here with me. Like, she's with me. She was with me last night. I'm like, what are like I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh, like, what's going on, mom? Like, what's up? Like, why are you showing up in the middle of the night that you're here all of a sudden?
Party? Is there a party I missed?
Yeah, that's right. Am I forgetting a celebration? But no, it's a wonderful place to be. And when we get to these spaces, because I wasn't always in this place. I wasn't. But the more that we just relax into it, into our intuition, the more everything kind of flows to us. It just feels so much better. I mean, think about it. Missing somebody feels so uncomfortable. It feels very sad. It feels depressing. But when you know they're with you, when you're in a joyful place and they're always with you, that's what I want to tell people. It's like, the more that you're happy, they're celebrating with us every single thing we do. They're even with us when we're not even happy, but we don't, you get so lost in the unhappiness and the depression and the sadness, so far away from your alignment with your higher self and the creator, that you don't see them, but they're always there. They've never went anywhere. They're like, we're right here. And one of these near death experiences that talked about, like, when she's on the other side, she's like, well, I'm not going to come back, but she can see them sad. And she's like, yeah, but you guys are going to be here in a couple minutes. Like, it's like, you're going to be here so fast, because there is no concept of time. We have a concept of time here, and they're just waiting for us. I mean, not that they're not doing things and growing and everything else, but they're there with us. They'll be there when we cross over from our physical to our non-physical. It's like, there's no separation, and it's like we still get to create with them from where we're at right now, because the only thing that changed was the body. That's it. Some dust. That's it. I mean, it's easy for me to say with a lot of stuff, because I've been able to go through this healing. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't revert if something happened to one of my family members or someone close to me, but I'm going to snap out of it pretty quick, because I know that they're with me all the time, celebrating everything. That's why it's so valuable for us just to live life, like really thrive in it, and learning how to do that. What does that even look like? Because I don't know. I've always lived very carefully. Well, I say that I've lived carefully, but within these confines, or these parameters, whether I was drinking or not, I was always safe, right? I mean, for me at the time, I was always safe. So
Yep.
it's it's awesome to be here. And the
Yeah.
more we want to focus, like, if we want to be in a great space, you can't, if I'm in a positive space all the time, all things that are positive are going to come to me, all things. And then if I see something, a little bit of a blip, it's not going to seem like anything at all. I'm going to just go through it with grace and ease. Really, it's just really, how do you want to spend your energy?
Right. And that was one of the things over these past 2 weeks was I could have been in worry every single day. I could have been, when you're getting that state of worry, you can't be, you're not really focused on anything that you're doing. And I mean, I have a lot of stuff to do. So that's my story anyway. I don't have to do it by no means, but it's something I want to do because it's part of my business, which is part of being in service. It's not part of, it is being in service to others. And so I do, for business reasons, have to stay on top of that stuff. So if I was in a state of worry, how many mistakes would I have made? How many, things would I have forgotten to do? Or I would have been very distracted. And I was like, universe, I know you got my back. We're going to get through this. He's going to come home. I know he's on a journey. And that was something else that to recognize was this was part of his journey. So whatever he went through in those 2 weeks while he was there in a room, isolated, that was for him. That time was for him. And however that time was created in his own mind, then it manifested, right? I don't know what those stories are. So, but there's got to be some kind of stories going on within himself to manifest something like that, to be isolated for 2 weeks. And it was exactly 14 days that he was in there from the time we went to the ER until he got out yesterday. And so honoring that too, like we all have these journeys on this life in this lifetime. And we don't know, our journeys are going to be based a lot on what we have going on, the stories we have going on in our head. And so, that affects our manifestation skills. So if we're still hanging on to stories, or maybe we're just right now, right here where we're at, we're just not liking our life. We don't like our job. We don't like, the people that we're around drain us, suck us dry of our energy. They're people are manipulative. People are always coming to me with their problems, right? And it's just so overwhelming with life that you're just like, I'm so done. I'm so freaking done. Well, okay, that'll land your ass in the hospital for 2 weeks. I don't know that that's a story. I'm just using that as an example. It could maybe just give you a case of the flu where you have to just lay in bed for whatever, 7 to 10 days, right? It could be anything. It could be that you break a leg or break an arm or have to have a surgery for something that just all of a sudden something happens with your body and you're just like, what the hell? And now you have the surgery and now you have to be home. Well, that's isolating you from your life. But the thing is that life is still happening in your head. And a lot of times what we're living in our head is everything about the past. And if I was to be there in that space, I wouldn't have been in a good space with myself over these last 2 weeks, doing what I wanted to do with my business, with my personal life, and even recovering myself, that I had some of the illness that I needed to take the time to nurture myself and slow down and rest, and right, because that's part of my story. Go, get things done, get it done. And just say, you know what, I'm just going to sit here in my recliner all day in my pajamas and rest. And it was okay. And so, and nurturing myself through that. So just knowing that worry is a huge waste of time and energy. It's just, I had none of it. The one time, I might have shared this last week, but the one time I had an angst about nobody ever loves I'm changing my perspective. I am in gratitude for any hospital bill that we get, but for 2 weeks, isolated, oxygen, like you're adding things up and you're just like, oh my God, what is this bill going to look like? I had that thought one time in the emergency room. And I shared this story last week when I looked down and I saw that sticker on his wheelchair and it said, Michael. And I absolutely knew it was Archangel Michael saying, I got you, sister. We're good. It's okay. So every day, that's part of my prayers is medical bills are taken care of. They're already paid. They're already done. It's the insurance, you know what? I'm just like, it's good. And I expressed so much gratitude to the nurses, the doctor. I gave them thank you cards. So, just being in that space of gratitude, that it's all good. Doesn't matter story. So here's another part, and hear me, universe. I'm not trying to manifest anything here. Okay. So, but the other part of that story is if I would stay and worry about medical bills, what do you think is going to happen? Our bank accounts are going to get drained in some way or form. Shit could break down in our house. The cars could break down. Like if I'm in this state of worrying about how much, like, I don't even know, right? It's future event. I haven't got one bill yet. And there you go. I don't even plan on it. I just plan on getting this is not a bill type of statement where it says this is not a bill. That's what I'm expecting. So hold the vision on that one. But even so, if I'm in a state of worry about money, about medical bills, all hell's going to break loose. And I'm going to be forking out money in all kinds of directions for all kinds of different things as well. So this is why it's important that we're aware of what is going on in your head. What are you thinking about? Are you telling the stories of the past? Are you worrying about future events? I got right here, right now. And right here, right now, I am okay. I am safe. I got money in my account. My husband's home. We're both breathing. Right. And so, and then I want to hit on gratitude as well. That I don't know if I shared this last week. I don't remember at what point I saw this meme on Facebook, but it wasn't a few days after my husband went in the hospital and he's getting 20 liters of oxygen pumped into him that I saw this meme on Facebook, and it was an older gentleman's face, very older, much older, and I don't know the exact wording, but it was to the effect of, I'm so much gratitude for the free oxygen I get to breathe every day, because when I go into the hospital, it costs thousands of dollars. Ever since I've read that, I've gone outside. I was like, I don't have to go outside, but I just like being outside in that fresh air. I was like, thank you, God, for this oxygen. Thank you, God, I can breathe on my own. Like that bring another awareness of what we take for granted. Even a commode, okay? Even, I gotta tell you this, even a commode. So we have toilets that work in our house. We have 2 toilets that work in our house. And I'm so grateful for them. When my husband was in the hospital, he was isolated in such a way that he couldn't even use a bathroom. They brought a portable commode into his bedroom to use. And he's telling me the process he has to go through to use this commode, because he's got a camera that's in his room, so he's got to move that so they're not watching him. He's a big guy. He's over 300 pounds and he's 6'2", I think. It's just a process, and it just stressed him out having to use this thing. So when he told me, I was like, oh my God, I'm so thankful I have a toilet to use. Like, we don't think about that stuff. You go over to the faucet and you turn it on, there's water. Express gratitude for that every single moment, because you cannot live life without water. You can live without electricity, but you cannot live without water. Right? So hyper aware of gratitude, of things we take for granted. For sure.
If you're slowing down, if you really are taking the time to slow down and having an awareness of everything, you're paying attention and appreciating. Like when I'm running the water over dishes, I'm appreciating that water coming out. I'm enjoying the way that water feels. I'm noticing how it flows onto the plate that I'm rinsing off, or how good it feels just to, for me, like doing massage, I have my hands in people's energy a lot. So just to even go in and visually feel that water, rinsing away that any of the energies that weren't good for myself or for my client, it might have been a heavier, denser energy. It's just slowing down. And when you slow down enough, when you start listening, because even though I've been going through all this stuff, I was asking millions of questions at a time, but never waiting and listening for an answer.
What's
Never
next?
getting enough.
The next.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like trying to rush past everything, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's just part of your growth. But it just got to where the more that I listen, like if I ask my foot, what's going on, and I wait for an answer, I get an answer. It's just not asking everything. Oh, well, now my neck's hurting. What does that mean? It's just really taking the time. And I think it's because we get into a rush. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, we just get into this rush and have an expectation of being through something already so quickly. But like we're wasting somebody's time. Well, it's your time. If you don't take time for yourself now, you're going to potentially end up in the hospital and get your little isolation time. So you have plenty of time to yourself. And then it's however you decide to be productive, or whatever decisions and choices you decide to make while you're in that position, how you want to exist or thrive. Because we can still thrive in those environments. There, just because you're in the space like that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good or a bad thing, but it's an opportunity. It's always an opportunity. I feel like a lot of these, just like if my foot was hurting, it's gonna slow me down. It's just gonna make it to where I can't rush through things more, so I have to take the time to notice things. I could be flustered or upset about it, but it's like that's only gonna just create more of a momentum of stuff that I don't want. It doesn't feel good. So it's like really just being in a space of asking the questions when things show up, and then just listening, just quietly listening. You'll hear so much, and it's not probably exactly like you were talking about the intuition, how it comes into you or the guidance comes into you. It's just so subtle. It's almost as if it wasn't your mind can kind of rationalize, like, did I really hear that? Am I making that up right now?
Right.
But that's when you start questioning things. But it's yes, it was really real. You really heard it. That's what you felt. If you're in a space, and one of my daughters was at the store and she had her son with her, and her boyfriend was with her too. And they're like walking through a store, but she's already gotten like some vibes from these two men that were there. And she's like hearing parts of a conversation, and she feels like this is a potential threat. Nothing came of it, but it's like then she started to rationalize about it afterwards, rationalize, well, maybe I didn't hear that, maybe I was just speculating. And it's like, but you got to go with your intuition. Your gut kind of tells you things, and it's to recognize when that happens, when your brain starts to try to rationalize things. And know that when you're trying to rationalize things, you're going through trauma, your own experiences that you've already experienced, and trying to make it kind of fit in those parameters. And it doesn't always mean that it fits in those parameters, and it wasn't meant to. You're learning new information. It doesn't matter how the information's coming in. And wasn't like anything besides, like, there's some vibes, there's some bad vibes there. And it's just to slow down and have an awareness of that. And the if you're fast and you're rushing around all the time and you're always busy, you're missing a lot. I missed a lot. If you're always oriented on busy and you're running through this list to get done, and because I used to do that. Okay, check that off. And it's like, but I might have accomplished those things, but I didn't accomplish slowing down. I didn't accomplish hearing all the messages. I didn't accomplish receiving an intuitive message and then being the active person and then following through on that intuition. So a lot of times we get into this such a doing that we don't recognize that most of it's not an intuitive guidance to do. That's just you trying to keep your mind busy, not to deal with your own stuff. Um, Maybe something's upset you. Before, for me, it was cleaning the whole house. I'd go through and clean the whole house. And I might have felt better afterwards because I burned myself out, but I didn't process things. I didn't set with myself. I didn't set with these feelings that I was feeling. I just ignored them, stuffed them down, and worked through the whole space. And then it's like, probably out of exhaustion, I'm like, okay, that felt good. And now you can look around, and everything feels better. It feels clean. I had a client talking to me recently about her daughters, and she was talking about one of them used to love to clean. And she says, now I'll go in and say, well, we need to clean. And I'm like, but when you say that we need to clean or we got to go do something, it feels like a job. That's like telling you to get to work. You don't want to do it. But if you think about it, she always liked to clean. Well, because it feels so good when the house is all clean. Isn't it so nice when the house is all clean? Doesn't it feel so much better? We should go clean the house. What kind of music do you want to listen to? Like changing the whole process. We've gotten to these processes of thinking that we have to do things, and we've talked about this before, but it just comes up again. It's just taking the time to notice that this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for growth for myself and for my daughter. Like for us to go have fun doing this, not feel like we have to. And I said, don't do it until you feel good about it. Like, don't just go do it like, I gotta go clean the house. No, you can set it up in your mind. Maybe you can make a list, clean the house or whatever this week. And maybe don't even put a time frame on it, and then set your sights, on being like, oh my gosh, that's going to feel so good in this house when the house is clean. I love it. I'm going to sit back and then just look around me and admire all my things because I can see it through the dust. You know, there's just so much to this process that we're here. There's just so much to enjoying everything that we're doing. And if we're enjoying everything we're doing, everything is going to show up in our life that's enjoyable. It's like there's always an opportunity. It doesn't have to be all this. There's a lot of negativity going on in this world right now, or a lot of
Has
energies.
been for a while.
There has been, but it's like, but do I want to put energy to that? No. Do I want to put energy when I see jokes and stuff about some stuff? Yeah, I get the joke, and sometimes I want to share it, but it's like I don't want to give energy to that person.
Right.
That's behavior is not what I want to give energy to. So it's like, what is, you talked before, creating. We have an opportunity always. It's like, what do I want to create? Well, I see that there's a problem out there, but what would it look like in my mind? Like being, like you said, being clear about what you want, having clarity about your desires and how you would actually see it. It's just really taking the time, and that's really taking a lot of time for yourself, but it changes everything.
It does.
It changes
Absolutely.
the momentum. And then, like you said, get more people together in a group. If you're seeing the world the way it is right now and you could see it in a different way, how would you see it? What does that look like? Get together in a big group and create what you want it to look like.
Right. So what, talking about the energy, if you're cleaning your house from anger, which is what I used to do as well, I get pissed off. And so that was the fuel that got me to clean. So that's the energy I'm filling my house up with. Whereas when you said, take the time and just really relish what it's going to feel like when the house is clean. That's a different energy, and it's going to feel so good and such, you kind of feel accomplished when you clean your house. I do anyway, because that's something I really like to do. So I work myself up. I'm like, okay, Saturday I'm gonna clean the house. It's on my list, right? Okay. Like Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm getting my mind right about it. I'm like, it's gonna be great when my house is clean. It's gonna feel so good. It's gonna be, it's gonna be so the energy is gonna shift because it's clearing energy, it's clearing that stuck energy, dusting. It's just gonna feel so wonderful. And so it's working myself up from like Tuesday, Wednesday to Saturday when I decide to do it. And that's my process. And that's not a joke. Like, that's my process, is getting myself in that space that it's going to be wonderful to clean the house. It's being in gratitude. I'm so much in gratitude, clear down to, the nails and the screws that are holding the board, right? That keeping the boards together, that hold the walls up. And then everything matters. Everything that is around us that we have, that's part of our life matters. And there's gratitude in everything, even in the situations that seem like they really suck. Having your husband in the hospital for 2 weeks, I could have been in that energy that, like, this really sucks. But I wasn't. I was like, yeah, we're good. It's gonna be great. He's gonna get over it. He's gonna be home. But being in the gratitude that he has a space to get better. The hospital has the equipment to help him get better. They have knowledgeable nurses and doctors to help him get better. And having so much gratitude in that, and the gratitude that I have a safe space to be. I was safe in my home. I love my home, that I have a bed and water and electricity and gas. Like, we look at things, right? It's like a habit that we get in these habits and we just do them. So it's just like our mindset. We're in the habit of thinking about the past or worrying about the future. We don't have the habit of being in the present moment. We have the habit of seeing all the stuff in our house, like even the decorations that you picked out to beautify your home. Well, because you see them every day, You don't give appreciation or gratitude towards it. Right? We just like, yeah, it's there. You know what? Those pictures, I've had those pictures in my office for since like June. And they're beautiful. This one's of an elephant and this one's of Buddha. And if I sit right, it looks like I have like ears like Mickey Mouse, but right. But I haven't been in gratitude of, I think they're beautiful, but I haven't been in gratitude of them since they've been sitting here and I can see them, but I haven't put them up on the wall. I'm like, you know what? You have to get those on the wall. You need to, now I get to look at them every time I do a Zoom call. I get to look at them and I see them, and it's a reminder, like the elephant representing, strength and wisdom. Buddha to me represents just that peace and that calmness, and take a breath, and also wisdom. And it's like, look at that power that I have behind me that helps me, right? The universe is helping me. And so just being in gratitude of those pictures. The lady who created, her name's Lucinda Ray. She created those pictures and they're absolutely gorgeous. Just everything, the books, everything that's around me, post-it notes, we forget how important all of that stuff is. And so it's really in this present moment is where your gratitude lies.
And where are you placing your energy at? So it's like, for me, I have plants around the house. And I notice going over to those plants and just putting my hand on each side of that plant, and I just sit there for a moment, I can feel the energy coming off that plant. It actually blows my mind how much power and energy comes off our environment that's around us always. I mean, you got your crystals and your stones books, whoever wrote that book, without even having to read that book, if it's such an amazing book, you've read it, or you just feel this energy coming from this book, that it feels so uplifting and good. I like to listen to, like I said, I like to listen to these near-death experiences, because you've got the person talking about their story and their experience, and it's like, if you really are just in a place of where you're feeling things, you're just being, you feel their energy, you feel their experience, and it's pretty wonderful. It really is. It was a couple of interesting things too, that, like, a person that was an atheist, he saw himself like in hell, and like being taken down, and another woman, she was like was hovering over this area, that it was so much negative that she just felt like she would be engulfed by this at any moment if she had to spend more time in this. And that was huge to me, is like, be aware of what you have in your environment, be aware of where you're placing your attention, or what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're reading, who's in your company, the pictures that you have around you, the magazines, the books. It's everything. It's like, whatever you want in your life, bring stuff that, if you want to feel good, bring stuff that feels good into your life. Bring it all around you and start doing a cleansing. Start noticing what doesn't make you feel good and letting it go. Let it go to someone else. But it's like, hell to me is a place that we choose to place ourselves into, because we can make our experience here in the human experience hell, with worry and fear and thinking everybody's against you. Or we can be in a place of, this is paradise, this is heaven, and all that's going to show up for you in your experience. So it's like, just being aware of how you're putting your energy out there, be aware of how you're feeling. And if you're not feeling so good, find ways that work for you of raising your energy vibrational frequency up. Find things that make you laugh. And that's just taking time for yourself. And sometimes you don't know. That's because you don't know yourself very well. You probably know your partner and every single detail of what they do on a daily, but you don't know yourself to that experience. And it's like, just this, and there's nothing wrong with that. All it is pointing that I need to give more attention to myself, give more energy to myself. What do I want to have me around me? I've got a curio cabinet full of freaking angels. I mean, I have angels everywhere. So I have them over there, but it's like, it brings me joy when I take the time to walk over and stand in front of it and give it joy. But that's part of our experience too. It's just taking that time. It doesn't take that long. We get into such a hurry and we miss out on all these little details. watching the butterflies fly around. We talked about before, paying attention to the worms, watching the freaking lizards. They freaking crack me up. I mean, they just look like these these ginormous dinosaurs hauling ass across the desert because their heads come up, their legs go. It's like they got go-go gadget legs and their tails are up. It's hilarious. Like I watch all this stuff. I watch the coyotes. I slow down and pay attention to the hawk that's flying around, and it's like you can feel their energy. I can, and I believe that we all can. It's not something that's just to my experience here. It's for all of us, but I've just learned how to slow down enough to be aware of it.
I gotta share with you because you're talking about nature, that intuitive nudge. I was sitting in my house. It was before my husband went in the hospital, so it was about 2.5 weeks ago. I was sitting in my house. I was like, I want to go outside because I like to go outside. I just like to look up at the sky and the clouds if there are any, and just so I was sitting in my chair. I was like, I want to go outside. I went outside and I look up, and we have those vultures that fly around. There must have been like 50 of them. It was like the biggest flock I've seen ever. And I was just in awe. And I was sitting there, I was watching them. It was so cool. And so just that was an intuitive nudge to go outside. I was like, all right. I like going outside. I like getting a breath of fresh air. But that nudge was go look, because we have something special for you to see, right? It was so amazing. It was great. I love it.
That's awesome.
So I want to tell you while we're still on recording, that yesterday, my husband had a movie on. I didn't watch the whole movie. I was cooking dinner. I was kind of listening. But anyway, it's called Infinite, and it's got Mark Wahlberg in it. And it's about reincarnation. And so it is action packed, and the drama, it's got to be, the movie worthy. So, but it was pretty interesting. Finally the the parts that I did see, and the ending, there was a great message at the end. I was like, I looked at my husband. I was like, wow, that was an amazing message. I think I might put that in my book. So I don't know if you'd be interested in watching it. It's called Infinite. So, but I'm gonna have to watch it again because I feel like I missed a lot.
Yeah.
I need to sit down and watch it because it was great what I did see.
Yeah.
So, all right, my friends, do you have any other closing words?
Just make a magical week. This is your choice.
That's it. In the
What are you
moment.
what are you going to place your energy on?
Right here, right now. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and energy, for joining us for Tea Time with Amie and Bev. You can find us in all kinds of areas. There's our Facebook page, Facebook community, which is our group. Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I have to look over here because I have a list. Google Podcast, Podcast Addict, and YouTube. I love watching YouTube videos because I like to see the people when they're talking. So that's my preference. And Bev is so relaxed and chill and just says her words. I'm like all animated and everything. I got all these facial expressions. So I think that's fun part of seeing the video. But we appreciate your time and energy. And of course, if you know somebody who could benefit from what we share, our wisdom, which is really what we're doing, just having a conversation of what we've learned and what we know works for us, please share the information with your friends and family or acquaintance or coworker who you think could benefit from this. So thank you again, and we'll see you next week.